we have a lot of people that are employers, and I see questions all the time. When I did my Nest video, people said, who's better, Damien, and how do I pick someone who's better for my staff? Because I think the Nest offering is attractive to employers because they do everything. They come in and they're kind of like, we fix it quick.
The reason Nest exists is because back in 2008, when they started designing the auto-enrollment system and then they legislated for it from 2012, they had to have a universal default, because otherwise they were going to pass legislation that says every employer must select a pension scheme for their staff. Well, you know, your small chip shop owner who's got a relatively unattractive proposition for a pension provider, they might have struggled to actually find a pension company that would be willing to set up a workplace pension scheme for them. And we couldn't have that because legally they were obliged to. So you needed to have Nest as a backstop, as a public service obligation that they would take any employer or any individual, and that's their job. And we've lent them well over £1 billion in loans from the taxpayer to fund the setup of the Nest pension scheme, and maybe one day they'll pay that money back. But
well, they're taking 1.8% on contributions, so why are they not paying it back?
That's the 1.8. That's what the 1.8 is for. And in theory, it's to pay back the loans that they took from the taxpayer.
I mean, they've got 30 billion in assets under management, so 2% of that is what?
They're taking 1.8 as an initial charge and 0.3% as an ongoing.
But they've got 30 billion in assets under management, which is forecast by the end.
It was very expensive to set up.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
so that
Call
was
me cynical.
They were just firing shots at all of them.
That's the reason Nest exists. Is it was a backstop scheme, and you know, in through that lens, they've done a good job. You know, and they've provided this universal proposition.
I'd not considered this idea that, you know, if you've got a chip shop owner that maybe Scottish Widows are like, you know, so
Scottish Widows are a commercial entity.
Yeah,
you know,
they can't lose money setting up these little schemes or whatever. But no, I can get that. But yeah, it does seem that the billion in loans and then the 1.8% fee, which is almost like another tax on workers, you know.
Whereas if you're like Goldman Sachs and you go and knock on a pension provider's door and says, I've got these really highly paid employees. Can you set up a pension scheme?
Yeah, absolutely. You like some champagne?
Yeah. We can offer you some pretty good terms.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's how it works. So in theory, you know, your employer can change pension schemes, and they do from time to time. There is an active market in consultants helping employers to shift pension schemes. But employers, I talked about this value for money framework that's coming in. In theory, that will help employers access information about the different pension providers in the marketplace, the services they offer, the charges they deduct, how their investments are performing, what their default fund is, that kind of information. The other thing an employer can do is use the services of a financial advisor or an employee benefits consultant who earn their money advising employers and acting as a go-between and facilitating the setting up of pension schemes. And that's what they do.
And what should be the key things? Is it fees? Is it product range? Like, you know, what?
So as an employer, you've got to I think you need to be motivated a bit, perhaps, on ease of use, right? Because there's an impact on your business in the interaction you have with pension providers, and some are better than others in terms of their administration services and the interface with your payroll systems and the remittance of the contributions on behalf of your employees. And you want all that to work absolutely seamlessly. And if you've got a problem with it, you want to be able to pick up the phone and talk to someone about it. So from the employer's point of view, that may be a consideration in which pension scheme you select for your staff. And then, yes, also you want to take a view on what kind of workforce have I got? Are they the kind of workforce who will actually just be happy with Nest because they're not going to think about their pensions at all? And so I'm just going to give them that because it's a safe, simple default option. Or have I got the kind of workforce who will want a wide range of investment funds? Well, okay, I should look for a pension company that does that. And, you know, what can I get in the way of most competitive fees? And then I might use one of those employee benefit consultants I talked about who will actually go and negotiate terms with a pension provider on my behalf and get the most competitive fees that they can for my staff. So all that sort of stuff comes into play.
Okay.
This was a clip from our episode with pensions guru and general legend Tom McPhail. To watch the full episode, click right here.